Some people walk through chaos and nothing sticks to them. They get talked down to and they don't flinch. Life kicks them and they don't fall over. They lose things that matter, and they still don't lose themselves. Look closely at these people, and you notice something odd. It's not that their life is softer than yours. It's that their mind has been trained, and yours hasn't. Right now, you probably think your problem is stress, or a busy schedule, or too many emotions running at once. It's not. Your real problem is that your mind is untrained, and an untrained mind can be pulled around by literally anything. One text can wreck your whole afternoon. One rude comment can flatten your confidence for a week. One bad morning can kill your momentum for the rest of the day. That means something simple and uncomfortable. You are not the one driving. Something else is. Think about how easily this happens. A stranger cuts you off in traffic, and your whole mood shifts for the next hour. A friend doesn't reply to a message, and you spend the evening wondering what you did wrong. None of these things are dangerous. None of them are even that important. And yet they run the show. And in a world built to grab your attention and press your buttons, the person who controls their own mind ends up controlling everything else too. So here are 10 lessons that will make you calm, hard to shake, and hard to read. These aren't soft tips you forget by tomorrow. They come from old, tested ideas. From men like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, men who lived through real hardship and worked these ideas out the hard way, not in comfort. And they will ask something of you. They're not easy. They'll expose habits you've never looked at directly. Most people who start this list won't finish it. But if you stay to the end, you won't just feel inspired for an afternoon. You'll actually start thinking differently. Let's start. There's a tiny moment most people never even notice. It sits between the thing that happens and the way you react to it. Someone insults you. There's a gap. Something goes wrong. There's a gap. You feel the anger rising. There's a gap. And whatever you do inside that gap decides your whole day. Here's the problem. Most people skip it completely. They don't pause, they fire. Someone's rude, they snap back before the sentence even finishes. Plans fall apart, they panic instantly. Someone cancels on them, they spiral. And just like that, without even noticing it happened, they've handed over control of their whole mood to somebody else. Epictetus said it plainly. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it that matters. Most people hear that and think, just stay calm. That's not what it means. It means your power lives inside that tiny pause, the gap between the spark and the explosion. That gap is small. It might only be a second or two. But it's the only piece of real estate you actually own in the whole situation. Picture a mountain. Storms hit it, rain wears at it for years, wind slams into it every single season, and it doesn't move. It doesn't need to fight back. It doesn't need to prove anything to the storm. It's simply grounded, and the weather passes through it without changing what it is underneath. Now picture a dry leaf sitting on the ground nearby. One gust and it's gone. No say in where it lands, no control over the direction, completely at the mercy of whatever wind shows up next. Most people are living like the leaf. Every conversation, every comment, every small disappointment blows them somewhere new. Strong people learn to be the mountain instead. Not because nothing touches them, but because they've decided what's allowed to move them and what isn't. Think about your own week, honestly. How many times have you said something you regretted 5 minutes later? How many times have you let someone else decide your mood for the entire rest of the day? Just because of one comment they made in passing? That's not a character flaw. It's just a habit of skipping the gap. and habits can be replaced. Next time something sets you off, try this. Wait 5 seconds before you say or do anything at all. Feel the emotion fully. Don't act on it yet. Just watch it, like you're a stranger observing the scene from a few feet away. Then ask yourself one question. Do I want to react, or do I want to choose? That one question, asked consistently, changes the outcome almost every time. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Not some power. Not partial power. Full power. But only if you actually use it. Day after day, in the small moments nobody's watching. Because if you don't take the wheel, someone else will. And they won't even have to try hard. Here's something almost nobody figures out early in life. It's rarely the event itself that hurts you. It's the meaning you quietly slap onto it afterward. Read that twice. It quietly removes most of your daily pain, if you actually let it sink in. Something happens. Someone doesn't text back. You miss a target at work. A coworker is short with you in a meeting. And instantly, without you even deciding to, your brain writes a story about it. They don't respect me. I always mess this up. Something is wrong with me. But the event itself was neutral. It was just a fact sitting there, doing nothing. The sting came entirely from the story you added on top of it. Epictetus put it this way: people aren't disturbed by things, but by the opinions they form about them. This is exactly where most people lose their footing. They can't separate what actually happened from their ego's reaction to it. Everything becomes personal. And once everything is personal, everything has the power to wound you. Picture a mirror standing quietly in a forest. Whatever walks past, it reflects. A fox trotting by, a storm rolling through, a fallen branch cracking in the wind. But the mirror never becomes the storm. It never becomes the fox. It just reflects cleanly without getting stained or shaped by any of it. That's the mind you're aiming to build. Instead, most of us are like muddy water. The second something touches the surface, we cloud over completely, and we stay cloudy long after the thing that touched us is gone. Someone leaves you on red. Fact. They haven't replied yet. Story. They're avoiding me. I did something wrong. They're upset with me. Now your mood has dropped for the rest of the evening, and you haven't even confirmed a single part of that story is true. Start splitting these two things apart on purpose every time you notice yourself spiraling. What actually happened, and what you're telling yourself about it. Say it out loud if you have to. This happened, and this is just my interpretation of it, and I don't actually know if it's true. That single habit, repeated enough times, quietly dismantles a huge amount of unnecessary suffering that most people just accept as normal. Let's be blunt for a moment. Your real problem isn't a lack of hours in the day. It's a lack of protected energy. You wake up fine, genuinely motivated, and by 6 p.m. you're snapped, foggy, irritable, and completely done. You blame tiredness. It's not tiredness. You've been leaking energy all day long without ever noticing where it went. It's rarely the big disasters that wear you down. It's the small, constant leaks, pointless small talk that goes nowhere, negative people who drain a room, doom scrolling for 20 minutes that feels like 2, comparing your life to a stranger's highlight reel, reacting to every little thing that crosses your path, whether or not it deserves a reaction. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind takes on the color of whatever it keeps dwelling on. Feed it chaos consistently, and you slowly become chaotic. Feed it negativity, and you slowly become negative. Not overnight, but gradually, the same way dye slowly changes the color of cloth. Think of a clean stream running through a forest. Now picture someone quietly tipping waste into it. Not all at once, just a little each day. So small you'd barely notice any single drop. For a while, nothing looks different at all. Then slowly, the water turns thick, the current slows, and the life inside it starts to struggle without anyone marking the exact day it happened. That's your mind under constant small pollution. You talk to a chronic complainer for 10 minutes and suddenly feel heavy for the rest of the afternoon. You scroll for half an hour before bed, and your focus is gone the next morning before you've even started work. That's not random bad luck. That's a measurable, repeatable energy cost, happening the same way every time. Start asking, before you engage with anything at all, is this actually worth my attention? Because attention is the one resource you genuinely cannot get back once it's spent, no matter how badly you want it returned. Epictetus taught that you slowly become whatever you keep giving your attention to, for better or worse. Guard the input carefully, and you build real strength over time. Ignore the input completely, and you drift wherever the current happens to take you that day. Ask yourself honestly, right now, why do you actually get frustrated? It's rarely because life is objectively hard. It's because life didn't match the picture you'd already built in your head. You expected respect, and didn't get it. You expected things to go smoothly, and they didn't. You expected fairness, and the world handed you something else entirely. And when reality doesn't match that picture, you suffer. Not because of what actually happened, but because of the gap between what you wanted and what you got. Marcus Aurelius used to prepare himself every single morning for difficult people, unfair moments, and things not going according to plan. Not out of pessimism, and not because he expected the worst from everyone. Out of simple readiness, the same way you'd bring a jacket if you knew rain was possible. Picture a river hitting a wall of rocks. It doesn't demand a straight path through. It doesn't throw a tantrum at the obstacle sitting in its way. It just bends around it, finds a new route, and keeps moving without losing any momentum. Humans expect the straight road every single time, and then break a little, inside, every time life hands them rocks instead. You help someone, quietly expecting a thank you in return, even if you'd never admit that out loud. They don't give one. That sting didn't actually come from helping them. It came from the unspoken deal you privately made in your own head, one they never even agreed to. From today, try telling yourself ahead of time before you walk into anything uncertain. This might not go my way, and that's genuinely fine. That's not negativity dressed up as wisdom. That's armor you're putting on deliberately. Epictetus said not to wish for things to happen your way, but to want things to happen the way they actually do happen. That's not giving up on your goals. That's finally working with reality instead of constantly fighting against it. Be honest with yourself for a moment. When you feel angry or hurt, what's your first move? For most people, it's to get rid of the feeling as fast as humanly possible. Distract. Suppress. Avoid. Scroll it away. Eat it away. Talk over it until it goes quiet. Here's the part nobody tells you. The emotion itself was never the problem. Not knowing what to do with it is. Anger, frustration, pain. These aren't weaknesses to be ashamed of. They're raw fuel, sitting there with nowhere to go yet. Left unchecked, that fuel burns you down from the inside. Directed on purpose, towards something useful, it builds you up instead. The old Stoics never said don't feel it. They said feel it fully, just don't become it. Think of a volcano. Left to erupt with no direction and no control, it destroys everything nearby without discrimination. But that same underground pressure, given enough time and the right conditions, is exactly what creates the richest, most fertile soil on Earth. Someone disrespects you in front of others, and you explode. You argue, you say something sharp, you lose the moment completely, and you regret it an hour later, lying awake replaying it. Same moment, different response available to you. You stay quiet in the room, and later you pour that same heat into training harder, or fixing something broken in your life, or finally starting the thing you'd been putting off. Now the anger just upgraded you instead of costing you a friendship or a reputation. Marcus Aurelius believed the obstacle isn't blocking your path. It is the path. The very thing hurting you right now, today, is often precisely the thing meant to build you into someone stronger. Deep pressure underground, given enough time, makes diamonds out of plain carbon. No pressure, no diamond, just coal sitting quietly forever. The same principle applies to you, whether you like it or not. How much of your day genuinely goes to things that haven't even happened yet, and might never happen at all? You imagine worst-case scenarios in vivid detail. You replay old conversations, editing what you should have said instead. You stress for 2 full days about a meeting that's still 2 days away, and somehow, without a single real event occurring, you end up exhausted and anxious over nothing that's actually happened. Overthinking isn't really thinking. It's imagination running with absolutely no brakes on it. You're fighting battles that don't exist yet, against opponents who may never even show up. And your body reacts as if all of it is already real and happening right now. The Stoics understood centuries ago that most anxiety comes from living inside a future that doesn't exist yet. Marcus Aurelius kept pulling himself back over and over to one simple question: what's actually happening right now, in this exact moment? A deer senses danger, runs for its life, and the second the danger passes, it's back to grazing calmly, like nothing occurred. It doesn't sit there rehearsing what if the wolf comes back tomorrow, or what if there's another one hiding somewhere nearby. We do the opposite. Safe in our own homes, completely out of danger, still manufacturing fear out of thin air, hour after hour. Next time your mind spins forward into a future that hasn't arrived, ask yourself plainly, is this happening right now, in this room, in this second? If the answer is no, pull yourself back, deliberately, to your breath, to the room you're sitting in, to the actual task in front of you. Epictetus taught that you don't suffer from events themselves. You suffer from imagining them over and over in high definition. Control where your attention points, moment to moment, and you control how you feel far more than you'd expect. Be honest with yourself for a second. How much of what you do, day to day, is actually for you? And how much of it is quietly done for approval? You post something and keep checking who liked it, refreshing every few minutes without meaning to. You do something kind for someone and quietly wait for a thank you that would confirm you did it right. It doesn't come, and suddenly you feel invisible, like the whole thing didn't count. That means one uncomfortable thing. Your self-worth is sitting in somebody else's hands, waiting for them to hand it back to you on their schedule. Marcus Aurelius wrote plainly that he wasn't made to live according to other people's opinions of him, and he worked at that idea daily, not just once. Look at the sun. It doesn't ask whether today's light was appreciated by anyone standing below it. It doesn't check whether the clouds enjoyed the show before it burns through them. It just shines, every single day, regardless of who's watching. Compare that to a candle sitting in a draft, one small breeze through an open door, and it's flickering, on the verge of going out entirely. Start asking yourself daily, maybe even at the end of each day, did I act in line with what I actually believe today? Not, did people like it? Not, did I get praised for it? If the honest answer is yes, that's the whole scoreboard. and nothing else needs to be added to it. Real confidence is built on self-respect, earned quietly, not on applause handed out by other people. Epictetus said, "If you want to genuinely grow, be willing to look foolish while you're doing it, in front of people who might judge you for trying." Trying to look perfect for everyone watching is exactly the thing that kills growth before it can even start. When's the last time you sat completely alone? No phone within reach, no music playing, nothing at all, with just your own thoughts for company. Most people can't last 5 minutes before reaching for something. The instant silence shows up, they grab a screen. Any screen. Just to fill the space. Why does this happen so consistently? Because sitting still means facing whatever's underneath the noise. The worries you've been outrunning. The insecurities you haven't looked at directly. The stuff you haven't dealt with, sometimes for years. And instead of finally looking at it, most people run again. One more time. But what you keep avoiding keeps quietly running you from somewhere just out of sight. The Stoics didn't run from their own minds. They trained them deliberately, on purpose, the same way you'd train a muscle. They sat still on purpose, reflecting, observing without judgment, because they knew that if you can't sit with yourself for 10 quiet minutes, you can't actually govern yourself in the moments that matter either. Picture a lake with a disturbed, choppy surface. You can't see a single thing in it, just noise and ripples bouncing light in every direction. Let it settle completely, undisturbed for a while, and it reflects everything with total, perfect clarity. That's the difference between your mind under constant distraction and your mind in real stillness. Start small, without making it complicated. 10 minutes a day, no phone, no noise, no agenda. Don't fight the thoughts that show up uninvited. Just watch them the way you'd watch clouds drift slowly across an open sky. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself daily, in private, not for an audience and not for anyone else to read, just to understand his own mind a little better each time. That's exactly why he stayed so steady under enormous pressure. He knew himself thoroughly, so very little could actually surprise him when it arrived. Whatever's stressing you out right now, in this exact moment, will it genuinely matter in a year from today? Really think it through, slowly. That argument you had, that mistake you made in front of people, that awkward moment that's replaying in your head right now. Most of the time, honestly, no, it won't matter at all. But right now, today, it feels enormous, all-consuming, impossible to ignore. That's because your view is simply too close up. Hold anything right against your eye and it blocks out the entire room around it. Step back just a little, and suddenly you can see the whole picture clearly again, including how small the thing actually is. Marcus Aurelius used to deliberately zoom out, as a practice, not just when he remembered to. Looking at his life from further away, from more time past, from the bigger picture of everything happening around him. And the problem sitting directly in front of him would shrink almost instantly, sometimes to nothing at all. You slip up in front of people, and in the moment it feels completely unbearable, like everyone will remember it forever. A few weeks later, you barely remember it happened yourself. A year later, it's gone entirely, erased without you even noticing the exact day it stopped mattering. So why hand it so much power right now, today, while it's still happening? Next time something's eating at you, ask yourself plainly, will this matter in a year? In 5 years? At the very end of my life? Looking back at everything? If the honest answer is no, stop giving it your peace right now, in this moment. This isn't about pretending problems don't matter at all, or pretending you don't feel things. It's about only spending your limited energy where it's actually earned, and not a moment longer than that. After everything so far, there's one final shift that changes the whole game completely. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You're the one quietly noticing them arrive, one after another. Right now, thoughts arrive completely uninvited, and feelings rise up on their own. Anger, doubt, fear, excitement, all without you asking for any of them. Most people fuse with them instantly, without a second's pause. I am angry. I am anxious. I am sad. But that's not quite accurate, if you look closely. You're not the anger itself. You're not the anxiety itself. You're the one watching it happen, a step removed from it. The second you fuse completely with an emotion, you lose the wheel entirely. The second you simply observe it instead, without judgment, you create a small gap. And inside that gap is exactly where your actual power sits, waiting for you. Picture sitting on the side of a road, watching cars go by one after another. Each car is a thought, or a feeling passing through. Some are loud, some are fast, some are genuinely unsettling to look at. You don't have to jump into every single one that passes. You can just watch it go by and let the next one come. Try relabeling things exactly as they happen, in the moment. Anger is here, instead of I am angry. Fear is showing up, instead of I'm afraid. That small shift in language, repeated enough times, creates real distance, and distance is exactly where awareness lives and grows. Picture the sky one more time. Storms roll through it, clouds gather and eventually clear away. But the sky itself never actually changes underneath any of it. Your thoughts are the clouds, moving and shifting constantly. Your awareness is the sky itself. And the sky is always untouched underneath, no matter what passes through it. You came into this as someone who reacts to life, moment to moment, without much choice in the matter. Now you've got the tools to actually run it instead, starting from right here. None of this works by just hearing it once and nodding along. It only works if you actually use it, starting today in the next small moment that tests you. Stay steady. Stay aware. Stay in control.